What's up? Hey, if you want to know when rape is okay, all you gotta do is watch the Cartesian Theist latest video, link in the description below. Forcing sex upon somebody is rape. But according to the Cartesian Theist, that's not what the Israelites were doing in Numbers 31 when God commanded them to kill all the men, boys, and non-virgin women and then take the virgins for yourselves. Because, as the Cartesian Theist states, none of the capture passages say anything at all about there being permission to rape them. There is only one circumstance which allowed for sexual intercourse in Hebrew society, and that was heterosexual marriage. He then goes on to state, and get ready for a painful facepalm, Deuteronomy 21, chapters 10 through 14, even states explicitly that a female captive of war is not to be taken as a slave, but is to be married. According to the Cartesian Theist, Numbers 31 says nothing about permission to rape captives because sex was only allowed under marriage. But he then goes on to state, apparently oblivious to the cell phone age, that the captives were to be married. You see? They were to be married. So how could it be rape? So the only thing that would have made sex with the virgins lawful, marriage, was the very thing that they wanted to do with the virgins. And remember that rape, by definition, is not consensual. So it must have been a tremendous coincidence, in order for it to not be rape, that all of the virgin females of Midian wanted to marry the men who had just killed their families, wanted to marry them and have sex with them. On marriage, as Ephesians chapter 5 states, as the church submits to Christ, so you wives must submit to your husbands in everything. In this ancient barbaric culture, it wasn't possible for a husband to rape his wife. It also wasn't good to have premarital sex, so the best way to fuck virgin captives was to marry them in accordance with Deuteronomy, which, incidentally, Cartesian Theist fails to mention only applies to beautiful captives, and which allows a provision for getting rid of her if you're not pleased with her. Some fucking marriage. I'll get into that a little bit later. I find it amazing that the apologist defends rape accusations by appealing to a situation in which the accused marries POWs after killing their families. It's kind of like defending against charges of shoplifting by appealing to your alibi that you were out doing your serial killing at the time of the theft. Just keep digging that hole deeper and deeper. The apologists are defining rape in marriage in the barbaric way of the ancients. This is what happens when you're forced to defend ancient propaganda because your religion is piggybacked onto it. So, when is rape okay? Rape is okay when, everyone say it together, when you're married to your victim, right? And of course, our sincere condolences go out to Mrs. Cartesian Theist. Or, pay attention, Cartesian Theist, you could have watched Tecton TV's video on this exact same subject on Numbers 31. Cartesian Theist, you know Tecton TV, right? Your friend and your recommended channels list. The guy you think is so knowledgeable on Scripture. Yeah, he gives a completely different answer than the Cartesian Theist in his Sam Harris Gets Swatted video. Typical Tecton video, bloated with unjustified hubris, in which he states that the captive virgins were probably only around 5 years old, and that they were likely only used to do household duties, not sex. And he says that the atheists' minds must be in the gutter to think that they wanted virgins for sex. I mean, come on! You hear that? You immoral atheists? They didn't rape little girls, okay? They just killed their mothers and fathers, and they killed their brothers and sisters, and they killed their aunts and uncles, and they killed all the little boys, and then they put those little girls to work. You see? It's much better than rape, right? Here's a little bit of advice. If you ever want to argue with Tecton about the barbarity of the Bible, here's what you do. Just concede to everything he says. He's such an asshole that he doesn't perceive the barbarity within his own defenses. And he usually ends up hanging himself without even realizing it, laughably with no shortage of arrogance. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Like shooting fish in a barrel. Oh. Ah, man. Incidentally, Tecton, I'm not saying you're wrong, but the Quest Study Bible does not agree with your assessment of Scripture. It's in agreement with Cartesian-Theist's assessment, lock, stock, and barrel, right on down to the exact same book, chapter, and verse given. Both the Quest Study Bible and the Cartesian-Theist use Deuteronomy chapter 21, verses 10 through 14 to defend Numbers 31, verses 17 through 18. Pretty exact, very interesting. The Quest Study Bible says, most likely the Israelites assimilated these young women into their culture with the kindness prescribed in Deuteronomy chapter 21, verses 10 through 14, just like Cartesian Theist said. So, what is the kindness prescribed in Deuteronomy chapter 21, verses 10 through 14? Well, let's read it and see what this kindness is all about. Here it is, marrying a captive woman. When you go to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God delivers them into your hands, and you take captives, if you notice among the captives a beautiful woman, and are attracted to her, you may take her as your wife. Bring her into your home, and have her shave her head, trim her nails, and put aside the clothes she was wearing when captured. After she has lived in your house and mourned her father and mother for a full month, then you may go to her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. So far, it's not sounded too consensual. If you are not pleased with her, let her go wherever she wishes. You must not sell her or treat her as a slave, since you have dishonored her. You dishonored her. In other words, you fucked her. So, you kill a woman's family, or you belong to the force that killed her family. You let her grieve for a month, and then you take her as your wife. You fuck her. Basically, you take her for a test drive, and if you are not pleased with her, you put her ass on the street. Husbandless, motherless, fatherless, homeless, bald, and fucked. The last thing she had of any value in this ancient world, her virginity, was taken from her in a test drive by her captor. This is what the Quest Study Bible refers to as kindness. I'd hate to see their view on cruelty. And of course, amidst this barbarism, it's not surprising that we'd find the Cartesian Theist stamp of approval. I mean, think about what they're saying. It's not rape because there was a ceremony, likely a non-consensual one. Hell, it doesn't even sound like that was required. And these are the people who want to define our marriages for us. And they base it on this barbarism. Another interesting point in the Quest Study Bible is this. It says, the Midianite women had prompted the war by seducing the men of Israel into idolatry and immorality. Notice how it's the women who are at fault for their seductions. Because how could the Israelite men be expected to have self-control or accountability? The Quest Study Bible goes on to state, in retaliation, Israel spared only the virgins of Midian, those women who could not have participated in the seduction. So, if you were a woman who didn't participate in the seduction, but you did have sex before, well, too bad. You die anyway. How about that? And if you had a penis, forget about it. You're fucked. Young, old, middle-aged, it didn't matter. There was no escape from being killed by God's chosen people. It's all right here. Read it and weep. Hey, Han?
Yeah.
Can you come here for a second, please?
What?
Listen up. This says you are supposed to submit to me. That means you do what the fuck I tell you to do when I tell you to do it. You understand me? Okay, I'm sorry. Someone call 911. Call 911.